legal politics. Obviously, I was signed in 2005 for the first album. And the second album was 2007, and streaming didn't exist. So literally, you could buy it on vinyl, you could buy it on CD. And I'm not even sure if iTunes was even that impactful those days. So it was more based on physical, people going to HMV and stuff like that. And I left the label, and when streaming happened, obviously I'm not a priority to the label no more, I'm not with them. So the album's just been sitting there. So me and my management have been working over the last few years, just trying to, negotiate to get it back, etc., etc. And finally, we're here. I mean, it's 15 years later, but so much has happened since then. And I think it's important that I let people know the journey, because I feel like this generation especially might know me, obviously, for POW, but there was so much more work that happened around that time that doesn't really get documented. So I think it was important for me to get it out there. And listening back to it, it still sounds fresh. Like, a lot of people might hear it for the first time and think, like, you can still rock with this now. So, but yeah, I'm just finally glad it's on there, man. But yeah, I own the albums. The albums are on Dench Records. I'm trying to get the More Fire Crew album back now. That's the next mission. So again, More Fire Crew was actually before my album. So that's 2003. And same politics, label, situation, just trying to find out, are we still in contract or whatever? That's almost 20 years old. So again, just going through the process of that. But I think today with streaming, I think it's so important for artists to like own their masters, man, especially in this pandemic as well. Like, streaming's an income for us right now because there's no shows. So I think moving forward, like, artists are more clued up as well. Like, we understand the whole thing about masters. There's actually one record that I don't want to bait them up because I'm going to work on it, but they actually signed a master for life, and I need to sort that out. So but I just hope the artists understand what the master means, man. Like, that's yours, you know what I mean? You own that right. So anytime you stream, anytime you get an advert, anytime any third party wants to use it, you have income or ownership, or any conversations has to come to you first. So I think it's important, like, for even signed artists, making sure if you sign, say you want your masters back after, 5 years, 10 years, depending on what your advance is, but it's negotiable. But I feel like it's important you get your masters, because that's your generational wealth, you know what I mean? Like, your kids will live off that, you know what I mean? So it's important. I think the More Fire Crew experience was so influential to everything that happened after, because we got signed, had a lot of success very quick, and kind of got taken away from us, and was kind of left in limbo, because I don't know if you remember at that time, the police were really onto the music that was like, they'll say it's causing trouble or whatever. So it kind of left me with no option but to go back on the underground and start grafting and start building up my own momentum where I can have control of it. Because what used to happen back then is you could have a big song in the underground, but to get to the next level, you had to be signed. And there was no other access to get to those fans unless you weren't signed. So this time I said, you know what? I'm going to do things differently now. I'm going to start my own label and try and move like a record label. Didn't know what the fuck I was doing, I'll be honest with you. I was just kind of figuring out when they like to go to the label or ask them, that's a marketing team. Okay, that's a radio plugger. So, but I'm all these people. So I'm just trying to just do everything at the same time. And then we had Pirate Radio. So that was like our way to get our music out. Rhythm Division, Music House, rest in peace to Leon. I used to go there and press up my vinyls. And I was just trying to run like a small independent record label and just try and get heard as much as I can and see where it took me. Because again, there wasn't anyone I could see, apart from Soul Solid Crew, but even they got caught up in the whole, they were probably got the biggest L out of all of it with the media. Like, the media were on them, like, it was fuckeries what they did to them. So that, to be honest, they were like my inspiration at the time. Because I was like, rah, So Solid, they've done videos, they're doing this. So I was thinking, yeah, we can do this. But then when they got shut down, I was just like, fucking hell, like, where do we go from here? So literally, I was just walking into a room, didn't know what I was doing and just trying to figure it out and being impulsive when things happen, and had a basic blueprint or basic like strategy was I just got to be on every radio station in the country as much as I can, as much as possible. And I got to big up Wiley for that blueprint because I saw that's what he was doing with Dizzy Rascal. And we'll go to a rave, a sidewinder or something, and they touch the stage and everyone's going mad. And we're not even talking about London, we're talking about Birmingham, Manchester, Milton Keynes. So I was just like, how are these men doing this? Like, then I clocked radio, then I clocked doing sets on sidewinder. So all these things I was learning from Wiley, and then Wiley and Dizzy left a bit of a gap because they got signed. Dizzy won the Mercury, Wiley got signed, even though he was still about, but he left room for someone to come and be like, all right, cool, let's take over the streets. Then me and Ozzy B, we created Fire Camp, rebranded the whole More Fire thing, got Youngers, Two-Face, Fuming, Hot Shot. And we just said, you know what? Forget labels. There's enough resources with pirate radio and underground raves and under 18s where we can make a bit of noise, you know, make a bit of a living. Them days, it wasn't really much, like £50 a show. That's big peas back then. Like, you know what I mean? I even said it on More Fire Crew. They said when they were worth £50, like, that's a big fee if you got that back then. So my thing was, let's just keep this thing going and see where it ends up. And I stumbled across Making Power, and then from then it was game over from then. You know what? At first, I was just pissed off. And then I remember Dexplicit saying to me, you know what? That's actually sick they're trying to ban our song because people are going so mad to it, they have to ban it. Then I thought about that and I was like, okay. Then I started seeing it from a different perspective. And then I got introduced to this world, which was the festival world. And I had no clue about it. You see it on TV, but you didn't think it was for our type of music. So all these other different kind of like publications and media outlets like NME and all these people started like being interested in what I was doing. And at that point, if you gave me a stage and a mic, I'm performing because I was shut down for at least 18 months. So NME, big them up because they will do like little events in pubs and stuff like that in like Camden and do little tours, barfly. And then me and my management was like, yo, let's just see what can happen here. Not knowing all the people that are coming to the shows, they're all kind of indie kids, rock and roll kids, but they know the songs. And that made me think, raw, like, this is just not an ends thing. This is just not for the block. Like, there's people out there that actually like what we do, but they may not necessarily feel like they fit in the venues that we normally perform at. So that was the channel I clocked. I was like, all right, cool. I can't kind of go back to the areas I used to go to, the clubs and stuff like that, because they're not allowing me. So let me explore this little festival market. And the more I kept going, the more similarities I kept seeing. The energy, the aggression, the the system, like fuck you type shit. And I was like, yeah, this is what we do, but they're just doing it in a different form. And they were embracing my thing as well. So I just started challenging with that. And I think when I was doing more of that, it flipped it on the media side and people that was trying to ban me because they saw like, I don't know, a Reading festival booked me in 2005. That was my first ever festival. Like people like Eminem, like some of the biggest artists in the world performed there. And you got Lethal Bizzle performing at this massive festival, but you won't play him or book him in a little 100 capacity club. So all those festivals I was doing was making them think, rah, like, okay, we have to kind of pay attention to what's going on. And that really transformed the perception of me and started slowly doing shows that I couldn't do before. But at the same time, I think that world loves that controversy shit. I think that whole punk rock, that is what it's like, fuck the system, like this is what we're doing. If you're down with us, you're down with us. If you're not, fuck off. And they embrace, man. So they definitely helped change my career around, man. It made me realize that festival world really appreciates music in general. It doesn't matter what you say, what color you are. Like, they just fuck with music. They're just like, I realize there's core fan bases, there's casual fans, and there's just music lovers. And I feel like festivals, if you go to a festival, you know you're going to hear a bit of all. Now you're going to hear a bit of everything, you know? And just me understanding to process that So I knew what I was working towards, because if I didn't, I would have just sat down and thought, this is over, innit? Because I can't perform nowhere. But I found this other lane that I could utilize. Do you know what? That's a good question. More Fire Crew Oi was interesting because we went on tour with Mike Skinner, The Streets, and the dominator of the crowd was white, and they were going mad to Oi. And you know, from my era, you had to, the industry made us feel we had to soften down our music a little bit for it to appeal to a wider audience and stuff. So when I saw that was working in that crowd, I was kind of thinking, okay, cool. But my main reason for why I do it is because when I'm making those songs, I picture myself on stage at a traditional grime rave, whether it's an EQ, Rex, Eskimo, Sidewinder, Palace Pavilion, and I'm picturing myself on the mic, and I want to get the reload. I want the people to sing the bars back to me. So when I do the chorus, I'm picturing me on the stage, and I want the crowd to say the lyrics. So anytime I did a grime song that I said, this needs to be for the clubs, keep the hook simple, keep it catchy, keep the crowd engaged, and then do your thing in the verses. And I don't even know if I say it's a winning formula, but it's probably the oldest trick in the book. Like, some of the biggest songs in the world, like jump around, jump, 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 jump. Like, the formula's been there, you get me? And I just managed to implement it in my own way. Facts. I'm having that. And you know why I'm having that as well? Because listen, when we was in the studio for PAL 2004, I remember it like yesterday, bruh. No one's heard the beat yet. D-Double's there. Everyone's in the studio. I've just told them, yo, come studio tomorrow. I got this tune. Boom, boom, boom. Like, yeah, cool. I played the beat. Boom, 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 boom. I'm there bopping. Everyone's looking at me like this. What's this? I was like, bro, trust me, bro, this is hard. But they were mocking it, doing like, like, bro, what is this, man? Like, even D-Double was taking, they didn't care about the beat. The only people that was on it was Forza. Forza was just like, Bizzle, I don't give a shit, man. It's you, I'm on it, innit? Napa was just like the same. But everyone else, I had to persuade them, bro. Everyone else was like, bro, trust me, bro. This one's crazy. Like, I had to sell myself. And in the end, they were like, all right, man. You know what? This bit sounds all right. Make sure you put me on the second 8. And I was just like, all right, cool, man. Just put your bars down, innit? And then, but I just knew that sound, it was so fresh because Wiley was killing it with the Eskimo thing and everyone was doing remixes. He would do 10 remixes of himself and then a bunch of bootlegs will come out. So it was all eskied off that year. So when I sold this explicit, I was like, nah, this is what the scene needs. It needs that bounce, bro. It needs that energy, bro. But them lot couldn't see it. And then, boy, obviously the rest is history for PAL. But with me, again, when I hear a beat, I just think, is it gonna go off? Can you hear this beat without bars and it's gonna go off? And that's my thing. And that's always been my formula. Like I can tell within the first 10 seconds when people send me beats, if I'm gonna be into it or not. If I have to listen to it over and over to see if I like it, I know it's not the one I'm looking for. But PAL, when I got that beat, and funny enough, the beat was a bit different when the explicit gave it to me. There was like 3 8s. So it started how it started, and then there was a total different 8. Like, I don't know if you still got that. It was weird. I was like, nah. Then it will go into the next bit. And I was like, these 2 bits are sick. That third 8 needs to go. So I just literally told him, listen, take that bit out and make it an 8-bar switch. 8-bar switch, take that new bit or that bit. It was like some devilly orchestra-y. It was just drowning the song. Like you're bopping and then that bit will come in and you're just like, nah. So anyway, once I did that, I was like, yeah, I was bopping all the way through and I was playing the beat to my boys and my boys were like, bro, if you do what you're saying you're gonna do, this is gonna go mad. And that's just the beat with no bars. So I had a feeling it would do something. Yeah, we got a few bangers, man. You know, it's funny because obviously you was there, but PAL was the trophy, was the golden song that, you know, took off and, you know, went beyond. I could never imagine where it's gone, you know. But Fire Camp, no. You play that in that same arena we're playing POW, you're getting the same response. Do you know what I'm saying? New Era, bloody even Air on the Roads, fucking Mr. I'm forgetting, a couple of Fight Forward 2. Yeah. Do you know what I mean? In the arena we made them songs in, if you played all of them in that arena, you more or less get the same response that POW did. But POW was obviously the song that just took off and, you know, made the world who wasn't familiar with what was going on here pay attention. But Dex Bissett, man, yeah, we had a nice little run, man. He definitely had a sound that I really enjoyed. And after POW, I just made sure that, I need to lock this guy in because he's doing something totally different, making it sound fresh, getting people back on the dance floor as well, you know. So, yeah, man, big him up, man. He's a big part of my journey, for real. Who can I say? Well, Dex Bissett's on the first album quite a lot, actually. He's done a lot of the album. Sticky done Kit back on the album. Who else in there? Who else is on the album? Who else? You know what? I feel like Dex Bissett made almost like 80% of the album, you know? And his camp, I think his camp was called Beat Camp. Yes. He had a couple there. The guy who made the best, Wanna Be the Best, that was Dex Bissett's boy. I forgot his name, man, forgive me. But Dex Bissett made a lot of that album. It was the second album is when I started experimenting. And Static. No, 100%. I think Static is one of the big kind of staple points of bridging the gaps of that whole indie world and having a point of contact in terms of, how can I put this? Like, he understood that world for some mad reason. I don't know why, but he understood like bands and stuff like that. And he kind of made me start paying attention to what's happening and realize that they were fans of us. And when I started checking their stuff like that, people like the Klaxons, that their sound was very, it was grimy, like, but with their little twist to it. And all those little things that Static put me onto. And he was friends with them people. And he was like telling me like, yo, there was a guy called, is it Testicles, I think they're called. I think they broke up now. They were like a grime, punk kind of band, and they were his people. So anyway, we did a song together, and that put me on the radar of all those big Enemy magazines and all those magazines that really, you know, control the media in terms of music that got respect and stuff. So I owe a lot to him, to be honest with you, because I wasn't really too aware of what was going on that side. I didn't think we was even welcome over there, but he made me realize that we definitely are welcome. And he produced a lot of the second album, and I got to work with like the Baby Shambles. We sampled one of their hits. A guy called Akira the Don as well. He produced a couple songs on there. So the experiences that I went through with the first album and with Static made me experiment more with the second album. Because I was like, like there's actually people from different walks of life that are into me. So I thought, let me try and, you know, get creative as well and see if I can, you know, keep my sound and keep my energy, but try different directions and stuff. So, and Static was like almost like the executive producer for the second album and helping me bridging that together. I think with social media, it's given us the power to control that narrative now, where before, like, it was funny, like I saw an article a few years ago and the journalist was like, yeah, when I did POW, like I was a new artist and like, yeah, I hadn't had no songs out before. And I was just like, what? Like, she wrote it in a way to say like, I was fortunate to get people like D-Double on the song and like I was a brand new artist and rah, rah, rah. And that's just like, this is what I'm saying. Like, you don't even do your fucking history, fam. Like, POW, cool, classic song. But I had a big song literally just before that with these albums I want to put out as well, especially the More Fire Crew album. Like, these are moments in the culture, you know what I mean? These are staples, these are real pillars of why we are here now. Like, I'm not saying it's the only ones, but it was one of the foundations of how this whole building we are all in now, you know, everybody's having a good career. But all these moments that happened, you know, I think it's important for, you know, if you're into like UK music, period, because I feel like what we created back then is what's allowed everybody to flourish right now. You know what I mean? I think we really gave UK street music a real identity. And, you know, so even just speaking with our own accent, like back then niggas were spitting American and stuff like that. I feel like us lot would made it cool, like, no, we're British, like we're from the end, we're from London, like the way we dress, we wear tracksuits, like now, let's have it right. The whole world's dressed like they're from London now. Americans are wearing Nike Air Max and tight tracksuit bottoms and straight jeans. As I said, I think it's 100%. I think with social media and, you know, with the leverage we've got now, we've got to take advantage of that and, you know, tell your story, man, and talk up your things, because if you don't tell your story, no one ain't gonna. They'll tell it for you. I saw that today, literally, on Gets' album. Big up Gets' album, man. Sick album. But yeah, he said it himself. If you don't tell your story, they're gonna tell it for you, bro. And 99%, it's not gonna be accurate. So, you know, pick up your phone, tweet, go on YouTube, Insta, whatever. Like, let people know your history, man. But I've got a lot of footage. Actually, my manager Nadia, big her up. She found some DAT tapes from back in the day. I put a few previews on my Twitter. I don't want to give too much away, but I've got I got the POW video shoot behind the scenes. I've got just rolling around, going to gigs in East London, chilling with the man them. Like, so I probably will do something around that as well, like a little short documentary, so they can get a feel of how the time was and how we were dressing and how we looked. Like, we were literally kids, you know what I mean? Like, literally, I feel like these drillers today, what they're going through, we was going through the same thing back then. But the only difference is that everyone's got phones now with cameras and stuff, so everyone can see what's happening. But it's just a cycle, you know what I mean? And I think it'll be good to see, like, what got us out of that situation was to keep going. You know what I mean? Yeah, we're talking about certain things and going through certain things, but inevitably, that's what got us out of that situation. Well, that's easy, man. It's got to be against all odds. And the reason why I made that album under so much pressure, going through so much stuff in my life and dealing with the attention was hard, because I've come from a crew, and in Morfire crew, if they're having it right, Ozzy B was the star. In terms of when we went outside and we done shows, Ozzy B was the people that people really wanted to see. I remember, like, we'll go to shows and people ask for pictures. People would be like, Ozzy, can I have a picture? And then it'd be like, oh, can I have a picture of all of you? So the tension wasn't that bad. I could deal with it. Like, I was almost like the wingman, and I was cool. But then when POW happened and then the album happened, now you remember, bruv, the whole scene was on me, bruv. You turn on the radio, any pirate radio, that crew's dissing me, that crew's dissing me, that crew's dissing me. Everyone's on me, and I'm just like, oh, brother, allow me. So for me to even get through all of that, plus like street shit that was going on at that time as well, boy, it was a lot to take in. My parents left me and went back to Ghana, so I was living by myself like from 2003. So yeah, it was so much pressure, and I remember I was going through some real hard times, and I was just starting the album, and I was thinking, like, how am I going to finish this album? My head is fucked right now, and somehow I managed to persevere and get the album done. And so yeah, it just kind of showed me how strong I can be. Like, you don't know how strong you are until you got no other option to be. And that whole album process was a testament to that, man. So yeah, I would say Against All Odds. And also, it was my first album, innit? And you always remember your first time. If you was to ask me what's my best song out of POW and Oi, I would say Oi, because again, first time, fame, it was all brand new to me. And yeah, but yeah, Against All Odds, to answer your question, is probably my personal album. All right, let me plug my tape coming though. Obviously, 2021, I'm working on a mixtape. It's called Lethal B versus Lethal Bizzle. What's the word I'm gonna say? I got a slogan for it. One man, two brands. But yeah, I'm hoping to try and get it out before the summer, depending on what happens with the pandemic and stuff like that. But yeah, it's gonna be exciting. I'm more or less finished, just figuring out when's the best time to release it. So look out for that.
Wicked, man. Thank you. We'll happily plug that as well. More